As a background, Hammarby started off, as we all know, as part of the application to the Olympic Games. So it became the focus area on the outskirts of central city centre of Stockholm. I mean, just because of the nature of this, it became a very focused effort from Stockholm City, and there was a strong political will to do something slightly different in Hammarby. And as one of the biggest contractors in Sweden, we became involved from our perspective and had a say in how we could make this a exemplar project. And one of the things from the beginning, the device was really about twice as good. We set up a standard of being double as good as anything we have done until that date. We have characteristics in the construction industry. We jump just as high as the client wants us to jump. And in Hammarby, the client asked us to jump almost a world record level. And that creates a very interesting thought process in what we need to achieve together. And a very demanding client, we believe, is something very positive. It drives all the kind of best brain power from SKANSKA, and we can get all the best resources in and try to solve the problem. Hammarby created that kind of challenge for us, and we stepped up and tried to respond to all the kind of needs and demands within that framework from Hammarby. There was a clear direction, a clear steer from a master planning perspective, and then developers were invited to continuously in a dialogue around what was being developed. So I think that's also something which is significant here. We were being asked, and we had a say in a very early stage, and we were able to contribute from different perspectives. Different developers had their plot of lands, and within a kind of framework being set up, we could be fairly creative, but there was a clear framework to work within. I mean, the whole approach is very integrated, so you can't never do anything standalone. I mean, everything you do affects someone else in the adjacent site in terms of the master planning or something else, and you never breach those kind of key principles. So it's a very tight and very integrated dialogue between various parties, how to make sure that your plot of land becomes connected to the other one, because I think that's a part of the whole Hammarby model, a very holistic approach to things, to make sure you're not just optimizing your part but also take the other parts into account. I mean, what I think differs Hammarby from some of the other projects, there was a clear guidance on, I mean, how design guidelines and a lot of other things, because of the software issues, were emphasized. There was not just a matter of land receipt in the end. I mean, being a part of a beauty parade and being able to deliver something extra was also very important in the evaluation. And if you didn't deliver that kind of high standard, I mean, you didn't even have to think about having any more land in the kind of in the coming parcel out of land later on. I think once again the holistic approach in Hammarby, providing different kind of apartments, different sizes and different kind of styles, attract different kind of people and different groups. We have families, we have single people living there and alongside each other, and the whole area is built to accommodate that. You can actually grow up from the early days to you end your life living in different kind of apartments in Hammarby, because there's always one solution that fits you over time. I think that's another example of a kind of long-term perspective, which I think is something to gain from. In relation to density, I think there is one resource which is not renewable, and that is land. I think we have to, even here in the UK, use the land more carefully. So I think inevitably the density needs to go up, and for me there is a clear linkage between sustainability and density. I mean, the big challenge for us in the future is to make sure that the future cities is built in a way which can contain the pressure of more people coming in and still become very sustainable. So I think there is really where the challenge lies for the future. I think you can probably be writing a book between the differences between the countries, but one of the most significant differences between Scandinavia, Sweden and the UK is probably the process approach. How to work collaborative together, try to achieve a number of common goals that we set up initially, compared to the UK model, which is more working independently, fighting with authorities. It's always kind of a battle between two sides of the table. And I think there's probably a lesson learned in that kind of collaborative approach and how we can work towards a common goal together. And it's quite amazing to see what kind of result you can get in the end if you apply that different attitude and that different approach in a project like this. Sometimes people ask me about the recipe for success for Hammarby, and I think that's a challenging question, but if you boil it down to something, I would say it's probably a combination of a very strong political will, a very collaborative and integrated approach through the processes. It's also about early and upfront investments in the infrastructure in the very early days of a project. And finally, an understanding of that sustainability is all about connecting the systems, and it's about quality of life in the end.